Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Hello, guys.
Today we're talking about things that we are excited for this year. But before we get too far into that, let's start with our good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And what have you got for me today?
Before I give you my question, friendly reminder to the audience, Rick's still in Australia. Oh no, wait, this is going to be the first one. Rick's in Australia.
Yes, I'm going to be elsewhere. I'm going to be halfway around the world. So these are recorded in hand. If something has happened in the meantime, well, it's going to be absent from the list. Like, if something comes out...
that's what you meant. Yeah. Gotcha, yeah.
If something gets announced and, like, it would make the list, then that's why it's not on the list.
I mean, I'll just say it right now. I've not put Has Been Hotel on the list because I know it's going to be out by the time you're in Australia.
Yeah. It is on my list, but we'll get to it in a sec.
Well then, you fucked up because you should have known better.
Yeah, oh well.
But yes,
it's possible that I won't have the chance to see it before I go, is the issue.
Yeah, I know, but like anticipated media, but that's out, is what people will say.
Yeah. But I think it's coming out in drip feed as well, so like the rest of the season coming out is, in the future.
Okay. You salvage it however you want, buddy. I'm still going to call you a knob over it.
Well, I could eat a knob at night.
Alright, it's up to you, man. I ain't judging.
So yeah, what's yours for me?
I saw a very weird question over on Reddit on religious fruitcakes, so I thought I'd pose it for the podcast. I'm going to word it verbatim as I read it. Are you ready, Rick?
Let's go.
I'm quoting here. Atheists, imagine that there was a bunch of Christian babies falling from the sky, and all of them land through your roof. What would you do? I don't know why they asked this question, but it's a question. We're both technically atheists. What would you do, Rick?
I'd sigh because I probably just sat down and I'd go get the mop because I don't think they would have survived that fall.
I don't think a mop's going to cut it.
No. Yeah, we're gonna need the police to identify these babies because this is a crime scene. They've probably been dropped from a B-52 bomber or something full of babbies.
Jesus Christ. I'm just thinking of like the scene from The Simpsons where Mr. Burns was throwing silver coins for the people of Springfield, except instead of coins it's babies.
Yeah. Like, it's bad enough when it's puppies, but yeah. Oh boy, yeah. These babies are gonna hit the ground like a sack of sausages. Like it's not gonna be good. And that's assuming that they can penetrate the roof.
Well, it says they land through your roof, so I assume that they're going
through your roof. Yeah,
they're going through the roof. It's just. By the way, again, I don't know why they asked this question. I don't know what triggered them to ask it. I don't know what answer they're looking for.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the implication is that it's raining babies, but localized entirely upon your roof. My internet just died. Fuck. Did you get any of that, Rick?
You got to raining bear, and I'm assuming you were saying raining babies and not raining bears.
Yeah, so they'll hear it on the podcast. I went, oh, my internet's died, and then it instantly came back, and I went, Rick, did you get it? Anyway, yeah, I assume it's raining babies localized entirely within your roof.
Yeah, because I'm an atheist. Well, the other thing is I would try to protect these children, any that survive, to the best of my ability, because they're being used as weaponized terrorism. And they don't deserve it.
They're falling from the sky, Rick. There's no terrorism involved.
Okay, but there's going to be a will behind it.
I don't fucking know. If that's your interpretation of the question, that's up to you.
My interpretation is that some fucking, as you call them, religious fruitcake, which, by the way, I wasn't imagining a person when you said religious fruitcakes. I was just actually imagining like a Christmas cake with a Jesus posted on it, like the rad Jesus with a thumbs up.
Okay, like from this question, I assumed it was literally like an act of God and it was raining babies. I didn't think there was someone got a helicopter and a bunch of babies that they didn't mind killing.
Yeah, well, it's one of those, like, how would you know that they're Christian babies?
I didn't say that. Yeah, I guess they've been baptized. Didn't you know when you're baptized, the holy water grows?
Yeah, apparently they've still got the little oil Simba mark on them from when they got baptized. You put a little Simba mark on, then you don't do the dippy dunk. They've still got the oil and they're still kind of wet, I assume.
Again, your guess is as good as mine. I didn't even consider to think like why you would know they're Christian babies, apart from the fact the question is specifying it.
Yeah. And, well, I think the kind of person that wrote these assumes that all white people are Christians. So I think they're trying to say, oh yeah, a bunch of white babies just appear in your house. Yeah. So I fumbled for a long time, basically saying, yeah, I'd get the mop. And yeah, if there's any survivors, try and shield them from religious dogma. What's your answer to the same question?
There will be no survivors. That's a fact. I would just die inside. I'd just be like, I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't know how I'm going to explain this to anyone. However I fucking cut this, it's not going to look good.
Yep. You're going to look like a big baby murderer.
And like, it's not even something it's not like you can lean into that persona, because no one's going to think that's impressive. And like, I don't care. A toddler could kill a baby.
Yeah, they can. Like,
I think people might be slightly impressed with. I think people might be slightly impressed with the volume of babies, but they're still like, at the end of the day, you just killed a bunch of babies for no fucking reason. And I'm like, I didn't do that. But what? How else do you explain the pile of dead babies? It's like, can you see the hole in the ceiling? This was an act of God, and no one would believe that either.
Yeah. Thankfully, I've got security cameras, so I'd be able to like record.
No, it's divine intervention, mate. No, they just sort of, to you it looked like they were falling from the sky, but on the camera they just sort of appeared, or they bypassed the camera entirely. Yeah,
and then like the hole appeared at some point during the footage. There's like a 10-second window in which all the footage is corrupted, and after that the hole is there.
Rick, do you have a question for me?
Man. Yeah. My one for you, it's not a very good one, because the one that I had before was even worse. Would you rather go prematurely grey or prematurely bald?
Neither. Like, that's I'm not tempting fate with this question, Rick.
Yep. Well, in the hypo, one of them is happening to you.
I don't care. If one has to happen to me, I'm not really bothered which one happens. Like, they're both awful.
Yes. Personally, yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, personally, I'd rather go grey, just because it's something that I kind of romanticized from a mid-teen age of looking distinguished. That I'd rather go grey in one go and look distinguished than, get a couple of strands and look like Rogue, which, as cool as it is, not a great look for a teenager, but going fully grey is kind of cool. And it might be tarnished a little bit by the fact that I am now thinning on top. I'm going to end up with a toilet seat in a couple of years.
Rick, if it's any consolation, the last time I went to the hairdressers, I had my hair cut, and they went, "Oh, I've left it a bit extra long on the top because you're thinning a bit." And I went, "You fucking what?" Yep. I didn't fucking know that shit. The only consolation with me, Rick, is, as you know, I'm tall, so
yes,
even if I did get a big old bald patch in the middle, at least most people wouldn't notice it straight away.
Yeah, unless you're like bending over or something, yeah. Like, I'm king of the manlets. I'm like 5'11 and a half. Like, that's about as tall as you can be before being actually an adult male at 6 foot.
I mean, I'm bang on 6 foot, so like, it's one of those things where I don't have an issue with my height. I don't understand the fascination with other people being like, "Oh, I wish I was taller," and that. But I don't know what it's like, because I am tall enough to be considered tall.
Yeah, another part of it is I was always tall as a kid, so like I've never known what it's like to be short.
Rick, what are we doing today?
Yeah, today we're doing our most anticipated media for this year, and we're doing another top 5, or rather, we're doing the first of many top 5s. And so here we go.
Do you want to explain to the audience how you flubbed that?
Yeah, so we're recording these out of order. This is going to be the first one released out of the bunch of them, and this is like the second to last one we ended up recording, so have fun with that. So what's going to be your number 5 for this year?
So very quickly, my anticipated media is just whenever, not necessarily this year. Also, just so we're clear, media basically means video games, movies, and shows. You could include books or music, but we're probably not gonna.
Yaha.
So that being said, number 5 being, because I never thought it would actually come out, Skull and Bones is meant to be out in February, and I kind of want to play that game, even though it's been forever and probably isn't what they promised.
Yeah. I also saw this on the upcoming games list and thought, oh, cool, this would be neat, and then didn't put it on my list. I'm also hoping that it's really good, and I will accept if it's only merely on par.
Like, if it's as good as the sailing aspect of Black Flag, I will be happy. But
yeah,
in my opinion, that's a fucking low bar. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it's Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm already expecting the microtransactions to be enough to put me off.
40 quid for Blackbeard.
I mean, I don't think it would be like that. I think it would be cosmetic items for your ship. Do you want your ship to be pure black? That's 40 quid. Do you want your ship to be gold and sparkly? That's 40 quid. I'm exaggerating the prices, but not by much.
Yeah. Do you want the One Piece crossover to make it look like the One Piece ship? Oh, that's 25 quid.
See, if it's crossovers, with crossovers, I can at least be like, fine, whatever, because the person they're crossing over with needs to make their money, and I'm like, fine.
Yes.
But that's also because you used the example of One Piece, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about One Piece.
Yeah.
Like, hang on, you like pirates, why don't you like One Piece? Because it's a shit zillion episodes long.
Yeah.
And I know people might get defensive, but I don't like the art style. It's fine if you like it. I'm not criticising it. I'm not a fan of it. Nami is a fucking mutant freak.
Just me looking a little bit guilty right here. There we go. It's a shit zillion episodes, but that also means by the B side of that somebody liked it enough to fund a shit zillion episodes.
No, it's a shonen. You can get a shit zillion. You can milk a shonen to death.
Yes.
Anyway, a little off topic. I understand that. Rick, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Has Been Hotel, and it's only ranked so low because it basically will have already started by a couple of days when this episode comes out.
I actually think this.
Yes, I'm hype.
I think this episode comes out a week later if we're still doing. If we do one retro live on the not live, but on the week of release of thing, that comes out on the same day as Has Been releases. So you missed the mark by about a week.
Yeah. So at time of writing, I'm still hyped for it. By the time it comes out, it's already like on the doorstep, through the door, and we're just waiting for additional episodes at that point. But still, it's anticipated. I'm hoping that it's good. There's nothing to say that it won't be. And yeah, if it were coming out in the middle of the year, it would probably be like number 3 or even number 2.
I mean, fuck it. Let's just clarify for the audience. We aren't even at Christmas yet for 2023 when we're recording this. So it is a month away as of recording.
Yes. So, who's going to be your number 4?
My number 4, I don't know when it's coming out, and I honestly think the film's going to be shit, but I'm kind of intrigued by the lineup they've preliminarily given us, and that is the Thunderbolts movie from Marvel. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a good pick.
Yeah, I'm interested. Like, I think the most interesting casting mix-up is putting the Winter Soldier in that team, because it's like, yeah, the world might still see him as a villain, but he's very firmly established himself as a hero.
Yeah, I think one of these things with things like the Thunderbolts is you need someone who the audience knows is either redeemed or redeemable.
No. In the comics, the Thunderbolts are almost always irredeemable arseholes, but they just so happen to be working for a good cause.
Okay,
for fuck's sake, the token member, I'm using the word wrong. I don't know what word I'm looking for, and I can't be asked to think about it. The flagship member of the Thunderbolt is almost always Red Hulk, who is universally General Ross, who is universally a dickhead.
Yeah. He's a dickhead with good publicity, and if it's not him, then it's Green Goblin.
Yeah, but when Green Goblin runs the Thunderbolts, it's usually when he's doing political shit as Norman.
Oh yeah, so when he's the president. So
yeah.
Norman's the president, Green Goblin's top of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, and you've usually always got Bullseye, who is just Hawkeye, but instead of Bullseye's not just Hawkeye, but he might as well be.
Yeah, he's Hawkeye with darts.
He's Hawkeye with anything. He can chuck anything with pinpoint accuracy, and it gets really silly where he's like fucking taking down heavily armoured goons with a fucking knitting needle, because he just chucks it in the one spot he needs to. It's silly, but that's what I fucking want from comic books.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited, but like nervously excited, and I don't know what the fuck the storyline's going to be. But it's also so far out that I don't think you can predict the storyline, because it's probably going to be some B fucking plot that no one cares about. If they do it smart, Thunderbolts will be its self-contained story, as in like it's taking place in the Marvel universe, but the threat is localized and it's dealt with in that movie.
Yeah, like the movie could have released 3 years ago, kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, we now need a reason for there to be probably Red Hulk and whatever other villains are in there.
Like they brought back fucking Tim Roth as Abomination. There's no reason why they can't. Wasn't Harrison Ford like slated for the role?
Yeah, I think Harrison Ford is like the new Thaddeus Ross because the original one passed away.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, sorry about that down a bit of a ender on 4. Who's your number 4? Well, what's your number 4, rather?
My number 4 is one that you've probably not heard of. It's Metaphor 4 ReFantasio. It's Atlas doing a full fantasy JRPG that's not an SMT derivative. I'm ready for a new Atlas IP. As much as I like SMT and Persona more than SMT maybe, but like that's by the by. It would be nice to see them do something new that's completely original.
Yeah, I sees it. It's just, I think I am vaguely aware of this. I just didn't know the name because it's a silly name.
Yes, it's one of those. I think it was not released. I think it was teased quite a while ago, but it's still like on the list of things coming in 2024.
Sure.
I've tried to keep things to 2024, except for my number one, which is hopeful 2024.
Well, I honestly, I think we've listed that there's 2, I think, on my list that won't come out this year. Maybe.
Yeah.
Again, Thunderbolts, I don't actually know when the slated release is. I just know it's on their release schedule, and it's meant to come out before Fantastic Four, which I think is slated for 2025.
Yeah, I think the big one for next year, well, this year by the time the episode comes out, is Deadpool 3.
That, I hope, I don't want Deadpool in the MCU. And by that, I mean, I'm not against them doing a Deadpool movie. I just don't want him to be a big part of the universe.
Yeah, I think they're essentially acknowledging that it's the X-Men side of the multiverse.
Sure.
And just playing with that, because we got a teaser of that at the end of The Marvels.
I haven't seen that yet, Rick.
Okay, well, that's your post-credits.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for it to come out on Disney Plus at this point, because fuck if I'm going to the cinema to see The Marvels. I wanted to, but no one wanted to see it with me, and I didn't want to be that fuck. I know there's nothing wrong with going to the theatre on your own, but I don't like doing it.
Yeah. I mean, also good luck finding a theatre that's still playing it.
Well, we got to wait like a month maybe, and then it'll be on Disney Plus, easy peasy.
Yeah, like if that. So, what's going to be your number 3?
My number 3 is another movie. It's Godzilla Kong: The New Empire.
Yeah. Hopefully this is hype.
I mean, it's got to be good, right? It's one of those where at least the monster fight will be good. The human stories have been a bit lackluster in the Western movies, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely.
The big downside is because Kong is in it. Kong's been the winner in the film in Godzilla vs. Kong. Kong was the winner on the human story side because that story actually mattered, whereas the Godzilla side was just nonsensical bollocks and not the good kind.
Sure.
But you know, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what the fuck this new lore is involving this ancient orangutan king. It's hopefully going to be interesting. We've also got the Monarch TV show that hopefully I would have watched by the time this episode comes out, but I wouldn't bank on it because it's a HBO thing, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. And like, I think HBO is one of those things where it's really difficult to get in the UK because normally someone else will pick it up.
Well, it's like a 50-50 split whether or not Sky will get it or whether or not they'll stick it on Now TV. And if it goes on to Sky, then I'm just fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rick, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Star Wars Outlaws. This is the game that's coming out that's just not Jedi.
Yeah,
not Skywalkers.
I know exactly what you're talking about because they gave us like, what, a 30-second teaser trailer. Didn't show gameplay or nothing, just a little tease. And it was like, that game looks great. I fucking hope that halfway through the game you don't get a lightsaber.
I wouldn't hate it if you did, but I think part of the charm that we've seen so far is that it looks like you might not.
Also, come on though, that battle droid.
Yeah. This game just looks cool, and I'm really hoping that it is just a good interpretation of Star Wars from a mundane standpoint. Like, yeah, Mando went deep with Grogu being a Force user and then bringing in Ahsoka, but for the rest of it, it was mostly mundane stuff.
I'd say
that did well.
I'd say that Mandalorian peaked during season 2 because Book of Boba and season 3 of Mandalorian were over the top, if you get me.
Yeah. I see it. Like the serial escalation of Mando 3 in particular. Some of it was over the top just to be over the top, and yet it still gave us I think both of our favorite episodes. The one with Emmett Brown as the villain, and Jack Black as a former Imperial who got so horny for Lizzo that he stopped being an arsehole.
I mean, my favorite episode is still going to be The Rescue because it's the best episode of television.
True, fair enough. But yeah, that's my number 3. What's going to be your number 2?
Rick, my number 2 is Star Wars Outlaws.
So just replay all my statements, and then you got your own to make now if you want.
I mean, like, all I was doing was agreeing with you. I'm really looking forward to just exploring worlds where you're... Here's the thing. The most recent Star Wars game that tickled my interest was Jedi Survivor, Jedi... whatever the fuck the other one was called.
Yeah. So Jedi... Well, not Jedi Outcast. That was the Jedi Knight 2 one, wasn't it?
Anyway, I
think Jedi Survivor was... I think Jedi Survivor was the second one, wasn't it?
I can't remember. Either way, I like Cal Kestis, don't get me... I like him as a character. He feels like a fucking Jedi. And
Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
There you go. So yeah, he feels like a Jedi. The actor who plays him enjoys playing him, and I think it leaks into the work. And
yeah,
I love playing that game as a Jedi in the first level or two when you're fighting stormtroopers and basically one-shotting everything. And then you go to planets and it's Dark Souls, and you can't just kill things in one hit because then it's not a game anymore. I understand that to a certain degree, but it's like, why aren't we making armor out of this thing's leather hide if it deflects lightsabers? Anyway.
Yeah. Your lightsaber goes from being a lightsaber to being a longsword +1.
Yeah, and I get it. From a gameplay point of view, you can't just one-shot enemies. It would be very boring very quick. But if I'm playing a fucking power fantasy Star Wars game, that's what I want to do. So taking that sort of formula, but putting yourself as just a regular dude or dudette, or it looks like you're going to be a smuggler and/or bounty hunter in this game, right?
Yeah, something along those lines.
And that tickles my balls so hard.
Yeah.
I want to go around and just fuck up random fucking Greedos.
Yeah.
Like the race that was built to die. I'm not wrong. Every time there's a jobber in a scene or a video game, it's always one of them fucks.
Yeah. Well, it's because of Greedo.
Yeah. Oh, boy. But even more than that, I'm also looking forward to perhaps having an actual more story-like, RPG perspective of, not to the level of Baldur's Gate, I'm not insane, but being able to talk to characters and actually have dialogue options and have choices, have potentially branching paths. I don't know how open the game is.
Yeah, we don't know how Skyrim-y it's going to be. We know it's meant to be open world, but we don't know what it's actually going to entail.
We don't even know if we're going to be able to leave a planet. I mean, it's Star Wars, you usually get more than one planet, but wouldn't it be interesting if they stuck you on a planet and that was it?
Yeah, it'd be new and interesting.
But we could speculate all day. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I have a PS5 because it means I'm going to be able to fucking play it.
Yep.
Rick, who's your number... Oh, sorry. I keep saying who. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is Beyond the Spider-Verse. Not because I
God.
Yeah. Not because of anything in particular other than the fact that I enjoyed the first film and the second film was alright, but it just ended and I just want to see the end of that movie. So, yeah, Beyond the Spider-Verse hits number 2 for me. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Let's just say there's a reason why I laughed when you said it.
Yep. Is it because what is your number 1 is about to get answered?
Yeah, my number 1 is Beyond the Spider-Verse. So I was laughing. You might have heard it, and you might have heard Rick go, yeah, because I too am really hyped for this film. It's Beyond the Spider-Verse. I loved the original Spider-Verse movie. I thought it was a great little self-contained thing. The second one blew it out the fucking water. And despite the fact that we have many horror stories from the animators who worked on it, it was a good fucking movie. And
it was a good movie.
I'd say it was a great movie. I'd say it's one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen.
I mean, sure. I still prefer the first to the second, but once we get the third that completes the second, I might change my mind.
I respect that. I don't know how they're going to get a whole movie's worth of content out of this last film is my only worry, because if we treat this as the second half of the same movie as opposed to its own thing, because let's be honest, it won't make any sense if you jump straight into the second one. What can they do that's going to match the epicness apart from the final confrontation with the Spot?
Yeah, you're going to have to deal with the Spot somewhere. You're going to have to deal with Miguel O'Hara, and you're going to have to deal a little bit with the emotional fallout of Gwen doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good guy now, but there's been some she was always a good person, but there's been a bit of hazy feel about how she's been treating Miles recently, so that needs to be resolved.
I don't know, man. I feel like despite Miles being what is he, 18, 19 maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, he's acting like a puppy.
I think Miles, at the end of this film, or halfway through this film perhaps, will have the emotional maturity to understand that, Gwen and his... let's be honest, the best part of the previous film was the final shot of the original cast assembling, going, yeah, we're going to fucking help Miles, but also Spider-Punk's there because he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
And I think he'll understand very quickly, especially when that group of Spider-Men and Spider-Women turn up to help him out. I think he'll realise that, I think they always wanted to say hi and pop in and be friendly, but obviously Miguel is the big bad, as it were. Even Miguel is not... I think we've fucking done this. It was one of our first bonuses where it's like, Miguel's not a bad guy. His motivation is to make sure worlds don't disappear. But because his motivations are opposite of our protagonist, he comes off as a bad guy, aka the antagonist.
Yeah, he's the Spider TVA.
Exactly. It also helps that I'm not sure about this lore detail, but someone said that the spider that bit Miguel was a wolf spider, and that explains a lot of his characteristics.
Sure.
Well, you know, the claws, the sharp teeth, the anger issues.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. Again, I don't know if that's a comic thing or something people just made up. But hey-ho, I have a soft spot for Miguel anyway, because I think he's a cool fucking character, because he does not take shit.
Yeah, apparently the universe has a soft spot for him, because he was, for a time, the most popular character on character.ai, where you can talk to chatbots of characters.
I think that's just people being horny, bro.
Oh, yes, it's very definitely horny people.
But yeah, the reason why I like Miguel is there's some great comic panels where he goes into other Spider-Man's worlds, specifically our 616's Peter Parker, because he gets fucking abducted by a demon. Don't ask. And he dresses like Peter Parker Spider-Man, and he has a brief conversation with Fisk, and Fisk goes, "What the fuck are you gonna do, Spider-Man?" And he just fucking clocks him full force in the jaw. And Miguel is surprised by how easy, because Fisk is in this weird place where he's just a dude, but because he's so bulky, apparently he's got a bit of super bulk to him, in that normal punches and shit just don't hurt him.
Yeah, so he's not quite on the level of the Blob, but he does have a lot of, he looks like he's a lard ass, but that is all apparently just muscle.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, but whatever, it's a comic book, so it's fine. But yeah, he clocks him, and Fisk is like, ow, and Miguel just goes, yeah, I don't pull my punches, don't fuck with me.
Yeah. I love the implication that Peter always could have done that, but he didn't want to literally kill a guy.
Yeah. Like, the implication is the only reason Fisk isn't dead is because he's a bit tougher than the average Joe. Yeah. It's fucking nuts. I love it. Anyway, enough gushing. I'm looking forward to this movie. I really hope it's a satisfying payoff. I'm a bit hesitant because it's a lot of hype.
Yes, there's a lot of hype to get over, and for me, it's also got to beat the first movie once the two and three are assembled.
Yeah, I get you, man. Like, yeah, the fact that the first movie is a complete movie is a big plus.
Yeah, whereas the second one, it's like, I just glanced at my phone clock, I'm like, we've been in here like over 2 hours, and then the credits start going, and I'm like, oh, you're joking.
Yeah. But yes, Rick, what about you? What's your number one?
My number one is Deltarune 3 and 4.
I forgot this was a thing.
Yep. I can understand why it's not on your list if you forgot that it was coming, because it's been a long time since Deltarune 2. But we now know that 3 is done, and more people have been hired to speed 4 along. The predictions are that it's probably aiming for the 9th anniversary of Undertale.
Weird, but okay.
But that's just a fan prediction. But it's not outside the realms of possibility that now that they have a producer and an expanded team, that it could actually, accelerate along and complete a lot of things in like 6 to 8 months, and then have like a little bit of quality assurance before bringing it out.
Yeah, because we had that announcement not too long ago from the Fox himself, where he straight up said that, okay, this is what's going to happen now. 3 and 4 are going to release at the same time, and 5's going to come out later, but 5 will
just
be
so
free
you get to play 3 and 4. Yeah. I didn't get that detail I just assumed that I just assumed it, but I didn't see it confirmed anywhere. Like, I knew that the idea was 3, 4, and 5 are coming in at one price.
Yeah.
After obviously 1 and 2 were freebies,
which still blows my fucking mind.
Yeah. Can I just say I am astonished you didn't have Hades 2 in your list?
I'll be honest with you, Rick. That game has been hyped for. It's been announced forever. It feels like, and we are no closer to knowing when it's coming out. So
sure.
I'm looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong. If we had an honourable mentions, it would definitely go on there.
Yeah. So yes, from my 5, what was your favourite?
I mean, I've got to be honest. It's Star Wars Outlaws. I know it's cheating a bit because it was also on my list, but I'm really excited to see to one, play that game, 2, find out what that game actually is going to be.
Yes. It might have been higher on my list if I had a PS5. But it will eventually come to PC, I'm assuming, but by that point I might have a PlayStation.
You also need to fucking fix your PC, because the Steck might... Well, the Steck works, it's a Steam Deck, but the deck might struggle, I'm not sure. You'd assume it wouldn't struggle, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same general DNA of processor as the PS5, just, not as good. It's more or less on the par of the Xbox Series S, which, as we know, they had to do away with a few things in Baldur's Gate to make it run. But multiplayer does work on the Steam Deck, so there is that.
Fair enough, then. I'll be real with you. These comparisons of power don't mean much to me. Rick, what was your favourite thing from my list?
My favourite one of yours is one that I kind of forgot about, and it is the Thunderbolts. And yes, when you reminded me of it and that it was coming, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that would be cool.
It's again, Disney marketing strikes again in that.
Yes.
All right, this one's Marvel, so they've got less of an excuse for it. But like, there's no it's not out yet, but they've been advertising other movies like this is coming. Watch Loki season 2.
Well, even then, they've only been able to advertise that after the Screen Actors embargo was lifted.
Right, yeah, because the actors are still striking. It's the writers that have been fixed.
Yeah, so Loki and the Marvels were both hit by this in that they basically couldn't advertise either of them.
Right, because they're using the likeness of actors. I don't care about the specifics. If that's the rule, that's the rule. Like, anything that helps the people that are striking. Like,
the only advertising they could do for the Marvels was showing the trailer, because that's just a thing that exists in the world, and you can show the trailer in front of other movies, but you can't, put anything on TV about it or anything, or up on a poster.
Fair enough then.
But yeah. So, if you liked this first of many top 5 lists, you got the comment section down below on YouTube. If you're listening via one of the many audio platforms instead, you can send us the email, which would go to nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Yeah, and so it's going to be a goodbye from me.
And it's going to be a goodbye from him.